So we've just seen that fantastic video about Qiddiya. I'm really pleased to welcome Don Potts, who is in charge of entertainment and attractions at Qiddiya. Hello, Don. How are you today?
Charles, I am great. How are you?
Yeah, very well, very well. It's getting cold here right now in the UK, which obviously you're not experiencing over in Riyadh.
Yeah, well, it's chilling down here too. It's supposed to be below 100 next week, so it's good. But it is a dry heat. No, it's this time of year is very nice in Saudi Arabia.
That's fair enough. I didn't know until recently how seasonal Saudi is actually. We can touch on that later. That's quite an interesting point. Just to introduce Don, Don's got 30 years experience working in major attractions. He's worked at Universal Studios, Riverside Investment Group, Expo, USA Expo 2017. He's worked in Kazakhstan, China and the States, and he has unparalleled business acumen and a results-driven approach to Qiddiya, which is really going to help it become one of the world's leading hospitality destinations. So we're really fortunate to have Don here today, and we're going to find out much more about the project. As you've seen in the video, Qiddiya is one of the four main giga projects at Saudi. They're investing over 800 billion in the next decade in entertainment and leisure, and 10 billion of that is in Qiddiya. So if we can start, Don, tell us a little bit about your background, just expand upon your experience at Universal and the other parks you worked at.
Yeah. So really, the lion's share of my experience is really in two different categories. One in destination resorts, and the other in destination entertainment resorts. And I cut my teeth in Yosemite National Park, working at hotels. Worked at the ski area up there for 4 years, and then ended up being a general manager of one of the largest hotel in Yosemite. And at the time, Yosemite Park and Curry Company was a subsidiary of Universal Studios, Inc. So interestingly, it was a summer job in Yosemite after school that I ended up going up there, and then ultimately coming to Orlando to work for a guy by the name of Tom Williams, who's still the chairman of Universal Orlando, or Universal Parks and Resorts, excuse me, and was one of the first 300 employees at Universal Studios Florida, and then ultimately senior vice president of operations for Universal Studios Florida. So it's been great. And then I bounced back and forth into other destination resort opportunities and other entertainment opportunities. And I've been in Riyadh working for Qiddiya for a year and a half exactly today. So it's really been a rewarding experience, very reminiscent really of the early Universal days and in building that there. So it's a lot of fun. The Saudis are wonderful people, and I'm really glad to be here.
I was thinking that your time at Universal, specifically in the 90s, that they were expanding at a huge rate. So that has parallels with what your plans are at Qiddiya.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, just by measure of employee base, it was 4,000 to 8,000 to 12,000, and really it was one park, two parks, and then we layered in the City Walk and brought in some hotel partners and became a destination resort versus a single gate. And great experience, great learnings. It wasn't for the faint of heart, but it was fantastic time and experience for me.
Good stuff. Looking at Qiddiya, we had my good friend Philip Shepherd talking the other day about the market in the Middle East, and he was saying that Saudi is essentially where it's happening right now. So if you could perhaps run us through, we saw the video, but give us an overview of the project in terms of the zones and the way it will look and feel.
Yeah, so Qiddiya's vision is to create a disruptive destination. It's going to have some of the most innovative experiences, not only in the region, but in the world, in entertainment, sports, and arts. And we are, and it is built upon the demand that this market really has from Saudi nationals, regional GCC, and with the introduction of the new Saudi tourist visa, international visitation has become a very, very big deal. And what we experienced pre-COVID was remarkable, and it was just the tip of the iceberg on what we believe we're gonna see. And, you know, and this is all, you know, I think it's important. His Excellency Al-Khatib, who's the Minister of Tourism and is Qiddiya's Secretary General, has stated that we are building Saudi's gift to the world. So we are building something that we believe will have an international draw.
Fantastic. And I understand that there will be an international draw, and that's a key part of the project, but there's a huge domestic market in Saudi as well.
Yeah, and you know, and I think the statistic that is most telling is that there is $23 million in leisure and tourism spend by Saudis in other countries. So in other words, when they get their vacation time, they're jumping on a plane and they're going to Orlando and New York and London and other European destinations, Dubai, UAE. So we believe, you know, we don't believe, we know the market here is ripe for it. And there's certainly a pent up demand because not everybody can jump on a plane and go. So we're really excited about the opportunity.
Good stuff. And just tell us a bit more about how, hate to mention it, but how COVID's impacted development.
Well, you know, very little, really. I mean, you know, obviously it's impacted everyone to some degree from a professional and a personal basis. So don't want to minimize it at all. But given this phase of our project, we were able to keep on with the site work and infrastructure work that's going on at the site right now. So it didn't disrupt that at all. And our Qiddiya IT and HR department did a remarkable job in preparing us all to migrate to home and the virtual world where we were working around the world literally, and many people still here in Riyadh. So the design part of it and the operational planning and business planning, you know, those things, we adapted very well. And so really it's not impacting any opening dates or anything like that. So, you know, when you look at the disruption it's caused with the rest of, you know, the rest of the destination entertainment industry and hotels and airlines, it's been very, very disruptive, obviously, but we've been very fortunate.
And what's the sort of estimated timeline at the moment in terms of opening different phases?
2023 is when we're looking to open. So we're excited about that, and all things seem to point to that date.
Good stuff. And can you explain a little bit more about how the climate and the environment have impacted the design and how you think the visitor experience will be at Qiddiya?
Yeah, well, we've spent a lot of time studying that and done extensive research and have compared our sites to many other sites around the world. And you know, a couple of points that I'll make. You know, one is we spent a lot of time comparing ourselves to places like Texas and California that have, you know, post 100-degree days very often, and with dusty conditions and things like that. And so we've done a lot of study there. And then from a heat index standpoint and just a comfort standpoint, we've done a lot of research on that, and we have found that because it is very arid here, you know, people ask me about Riyadh, and I say, you know, it's in the summer, it's Scottsdale, Arizona. And, you know, it really is, and they certainly figure it out and have figured it out for years in you know, the Phoenix, Scottsdale area. When you compare that to a Singapore and even Orlando and a Dubai, when you add the humidity to the high temperatures, it's much more comfortable here, number one. Number two, you know, the lion's share of our demographics are going to be Saudis, and they are by nature nocturnal people. You know, they like staying up late, and obviously during the summer that bodes very well for us. So we'll adapt our operating hours to mirror those behaviors, and you know, we'll likely open up later, during the warm months and close later. So it's we don't see that's a problem. And obviously we have, we've taken a hard look at shaded areas and air conditioning and things like that. And again, with the arid climate, we're able to really leverage some of this misting technology and things like that. When you try to use that during certain times of year in Orlando and Dubai, it just ends up being more rain. It just increases the humidity. Doesn't really work real great.
And what about in terms of obviously climate change is a big concern for everyone now. So what about your goals in terms of sustainability and objectives you have in that regard?
Yeah, so Qiddiya enthusiastic embraces the sustainability goals outlined in Saudi Vision 2030. We're completely aligned with that. Those initiatives include everything from reducing all types of pollution, protecting and rehabilitating the kingdom's natural reserves. I mean, we have a beautiful site, and we are enhancing the site, not disrupting the site. I mean, we are very much, and being a guy that comes from Yosemite, and I know all about that, and we're absolutely going to manage that and accordingly. And it just adds to, from a business standpoint, it adds to the overall experience, because not only are you get to experience all these tremendous assets and attractions that we're building, you just look up and it's just beautiful, just absolutely beautiful. Promoting in technologies for the optimum use of water resources, that's a big one. So we're focused on that in a big way. And so waste management, water, microclimate, etc. So we're looking at all those things.
Good stuff. And in terms of contribution to the local economy, what's in terms of jobs? Give us an outline about what the impact will be there.
Well, again, consistent with Saudi 2030, we're going to be contributing to the economy in a big way. We right now, our forecasts show us employing 17,000 employees, and it's developing that service workforce is something that started. Really, it had started before I got here, even though we were 3-4 years out at that time. We have 60 Saudi students, recent graduates, who we selected out of, I think it was over 5,000 applicants, and we gave them scholarships to go to Rosen Hospitality School in Orlando. And they just finished their first year. They're starting their second year right now. And then there are many other university programs that we are engaged with right now, and we'll be placing folks. But it's not necessarily just degrees. There's a lot of just technical skill jobs that you need in the hospitality industry and in the parks, everything from welders to vehicle mechanics to landscapers to security guards. So not everybody needs an MBA. Sure, we're going to need a lot of smart Saudis, and there are a lot of smart Saudis here, and there will be we're percolating some of those right now in the United States and other places, but it's a multifaceted approach that we're taking. No easy task to hire 17,000 employees, and as you know, to end up with 17,000 employees, you really have to have about 23,000 employees at the beginning, because some people are going to decide that we don't want to do it. It's very, very, the hospitality industry is a very new business here in Saudi. Prior to my arrival, there have been several government mandates that they have taken positions like call centers and hotel front desks, etc. Uber drivers, Starbucks, you name it, and those need to be Saudis now. So it's a big priority for us. And so when you look at the mandate of Vision 2030 and the diversification of the economy and improving upon the employment or unemployment, we're going to be contributing.
And how far is the site outside of Riyadh?
30 minutes. And I say that, you know, if you leave at peak rush hour, it might be 40, 45 minutes. But, you know, if I got in the car right now and went to site, I'd be 30 minutes away. So, and I'm right in the middle of Riyadh right now. It's a very easy drive. There's all kinds of infrastructure improvements going on. Expansion of the existing roadways, building new roads. We have a metro train that will ultimately be going to Qiddiya, to our city center. And it's just getting ready to open in Riyadh itself. It's something very new in Kingdom, a train, believe it or not. And so that's something that will be open soon. And so we'll be able to begin to expose Saudi citizens to the behavior of actually parking their car and using a train.
Good stuff. So in many ways, it's like when Disney built Disney World in Orlando. It's a fresh site. You've got to create the infrastructure from scratch.
Yeah, you know, and that is a great analogy, and just, you know, within the Qiddiya site, which is massive, and you mentioned Walt Disney World. Well, within our industry, as you know, it's the infamous, you know, it's Reedy Creek, and so we will have our version, and very similar to the Reedy Creek, that provides those support services and in processes. You know, we're building a city, Charles. I mean, we are building a city, and it's a multifaceted destination entertainment city. So we're going to have schools and fire stations and police stations and mosques and hospitals and everything else that goes along with it. And you know, we tend to gravitate towards, and I'm glad we do, towards the fun things like theme parks, attractions, and water parks. But it is in the center of a city, and we've got a massive residential area that'll be surrounding us.
Wow. And we touched earlier on the seasons in Saudi, and I know that the Winter Wonderland from London, you actually had a version of that in Saudi, which was a huge success, partly advantage of the seasonal differences. So if you could perhaps expand upon that.
It was remarkable. So I was here for that, and that started last end of October, November last year, and you know, it was supposed to end in January, and they extended it to February, and they extended it to March, and finally shut it down around the 1st of April. But the demand and the attendance that they had at a variety of these, not only Winter Wonderland, which was just a tremendous success, but all the different events and music concerts and festivals and pop-up dining and things like that. It was remarkable. So it was very, very encouraging for us to see, and nothing against Winter Wonderland, but you know, it was, and there's nothing wrong with a county fair, but it was like a county fair type of program versus what we're investing, you know, billions of dollars in a destination entertainment resort. So there's vast difference. So if they're gonna flock to those kinds of experiences, which there was nothing wrong with them, because I went and they did a really good job. They're certainly going to be coming to Qiddiya. So we're very encouraged. And again, you know, as you know, there's 8.5 million people in Riyadh today. There is a committee called focused on the Riyadh growth, and Riyadh growth is forecasted by 2030 to grow from that 8.5 million to almost 15 million people. So, and that is at our back door. So we are very excited about that.
That's good. And of course, the demographic in Saudi is a very young one. Most people, I think about 60% are in our age bracket, under 40. So,
yeah. I mean, it is remarkable, and it's something that I never really had my head around when I first got here, was the fact that 2/3 of the country is you know, the age of His Royal Highness or below. And so, you know, when you talk about a ruler understanding his people, he understands 2/3 of them very, very well, because he's one of them. And they are, you know, they're you know, again, I talked about the amount of spend in tourism outside the country. So they're familiar with good entertainment products, and they want to do it. They're all connected on YouTube and cell phones and social media and everything else. And in our business, that prime time, you know, customer for entertainment destinations and experiences is, people 25 to 45. I mean, that's just the prime time. So, and they're all starting to have kids, and so it's an exciting time. It really is.
Good stuff. So in terms of the Six Flag Park, I've been to Six Flag Parks in the States, and they're fantastic parks, but I wouldn't say theming is a huge part of them compared to, say, Universal. But I know the Six Flags Qiddiya theming is going to be a huge, important part of the park in terms of paying homage to Saudi's cultural heritage. So perhaps you could talk a little bit more about that.
Yes. So we are really going to pay homage to Six Flags cultural heritage, and first of all, just let me say that we are creating with our partners at Six Flags the most unbelievable Six Flags park in the world by far. It is the most heavily themed Six Flags park. It is the largest Six Flags park. It has many world record attractions that have never been done. So this is going to be a spectacular destination. So when you start talking about not only the local desire to attend, but then you start getting into the GCC and the international visitors and their desire to come see us, we feel we really have a home run. And what we've done is the design teams have really taken, they've incorporated the 13 regions of Saudi Arabia that are very unique and eclectic, and we've incorporated those into our 6 lands that we have at Six Flags. So again, that's all the theming by land is very unique. So the Saudis are going to love it, and everyone's going to love it. But it's fantastic. It's an 80-acre park. It's a big park.
Well, I read that the plan is to have 31 rides.
Close, Charles. 29 rides, but still plenty. And
are you able to give us any more detail about specific rides at Falcon's Flight? Perhaps there's been a lot of chatter about that.
Yeah. Of Falcon's Flight. What more can you say? And it's been fairly well documented, but it'll be Six Flags' most recognizable, anticipated thrill ride. I mean, it's this thing's the fastest, the highest, the tallest coaster ever built, and the fact that it incorporates our natural environment and goes up 200 meters up the side of our cliff and makes a little loop on the top and then comes straight down, and not just gravity straight down, accelerating down. It's going to be not for the faint of heart, but Saudis, we've learned, are very adrenaline focused, and they like to go fast, and they like to do thrilling things. So it'll certainly be the centerpiece, and we have other things. Scirocco Tower will be the tallest drop tower in the world. So we have a Sea Stallion. It's a interactive ride that is propelled over rivers and behind waterfalls and through trees and all kinds of different interactive entertainment elements. We have Spitfire, that's a triple launch coaster, and then the Iron Rattler mine train. If you're a Six Flags park, you got to have a mine train. But this will be something that's has a unique twist to it. Let me just put it that way.
Good stuff. And do you plan to have media-based attractions too?
Not today. No. This is we are creating a very unique. Obviously the fundamental and foundational Six Flags park. We have that DNA and that infrastructure, but again, we've designed this with really the Saudis in mind. Mm-hmm. And then when you incorporate some of those world record, never been done before thrills, that's where we really start to get the GCC and the other international folks in.
Good stuff. And what I with regard to the other Giga projects, the Red Sea project and Neom, for example, are you working close with those guys?
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. We are, although all of the Giga projects are very, very different. We have common denominators. And in fact, the ones around, the ones around Riyadh, King Abdul Financial District and Diriyah Gate, and Qiddiya, our backyards, so on top of the cliff, are not that far away. And so the Public Investment Fund is starting to look at opportunities for us to, leverage those support services when you're talking about warehousing and laundries and commissary kitchens and things like that. So through PIF, we're starting to work on that. Many of us, the expats that are involved in all these projects, we live with these guys. There's a handful of different compounds around Riyadh, and so they're a great group of guys, and we're certainly sharing our experiences. And there's many, at least pre-COVID there was, and they'll start soon. Many networking events and things like that. So we're very close with the other Giga projects.
Good stuff. And as obviously an executive in charge of building the attractions, is there a particular experience or attraction at the park you're most looking forward to riding or experiencing?
Well, ask me in a couple of years, but Falcon's Flight is certainly something that I'd like to experience, but it is going to be a unique one. Let's just say that. So I'd have to say that's the top of the list.
Fantastic. Well, Don, thank you very, very much for being here today. Really appreciate it. It's a hugely exciting project, and we'll obviously be catching up with you over the years, watching its progress. And I'd like to say that Don will be on our system, so please feel free to send him questions. He'll get back to you on via the platform. And just remain to say thanks very much, Don, and we shall speak soon.
Charles, great to speak to you again. Take care. Have a great day.
Cheers.
Thank you.